Marcus Rashford departure talks are back at Manchester United as Barcelona are said to be interested, according to some report that I'll give you details about. Welcome to the United Sport. It's the week where we get to look at several departures, hoping that many of them will happen so that we make way for some of our last and most important signings of this summer. Welcome aboard. Like, share, subscribe, and drop a comment, guys. Let's get proper into this Man United talk. Now, the latest that we are getting from some sources around the UK, the Express and one Sport Ration, are saying that Manchester United's Marcus Rashford is attracting interest from Barcelona, with Hansi Flick, the boss of Barcelona, very interested in the 25-year-old Man United star. Now, this is said can make sense, of course. You can say, who are these sources? Why? How on earth can they say that? Who are they? Why is Web quoting the Express or Daily Express and some sports ration? They are not Fabrizio. They are not David Ornstein. Neither are they Ben Jacobs. Why is Web quoting them? Listen, Barcelona were so intent on signing Nico Williams. If you do recall, in the summer, he was their marquee signing to make at least. But they failed on him after spending so much time trying to lure him, trying to convince him to join them, only for him to decide to stay at Atletico Bilbao and get the number 10 shirt, or trying to work his way up to being a legend of the club. Now, that showed you that Barcelona, in their plans for the team, always wanted to sign a winger, because Nico Williams, okay, he's a forward, just like Marcus Rashford, but they both mostly play off the left. Now, Barcelona wanted that kind of player. Now, if they fail to sign Nico Williams, they will obviously want to go into the window and look for a player close to the levels of Nico Williams. Now, if you look around, there are not so many at that level. Now, I'm not trying to say that, that Marcus Rashford is currently as good as Nico Williams. But, of course, me and you know that Rashford is more proven than Nico Williams at the topmost level. Rashford was top scorer for Man United 2 seasons ago. Rashford is a big top earner. Rashford was at some point close to world class, or by some people viewed as world class. But Hansi Flick knows the issues he's going through, but he still trusts his talent, his dribbling, and his pace. He feels are so good, and he thinks they will come in handy for him. So it is said that he submitted a list of options after failing out on Nico Williams. He submitted a list of names that he would want to go for, and top on this list was Marcus Rashford, who they believe, if they do have the right money, they can convince to price out of Man United. Now, first of all, for me, it is a good report, because you do recall towards the end of last season, I was one of those who was crying out saying, if we get a club, and at that time PSG were seeming to show interest in him, I thought because PSG were viewing him as a potential replacement for Kylian Mbappe. But of course, if he fell off the pace, really, his levels went down. But I still think, for me, because by then I was valuing him at least 80 million pounds. Obviously, now Marcus Rashford is way below 80 million. I don't think he's ever going to go back up to 80, 90, and 100 million pounds, where many of us viewed him at some point. I feel, for me, if Barcelona can be able to give us, let's say, uh, uh, 60 million pounds for Marcus Rashford, we sell him. Honestly, that's what I think. Sell him. If Barcelona are serious, because if Barcelona were willing to meet the buyout clause of Nico Williams, which was about 58 million euros, I think they can really go into a deal where they have to pay us 60 million pounds, even if it doesn't have to be a down payment. Even if it's paid across 2 or 3 years, it's okay, because even we have players we've signed that we're paying for across a period of 3 years. So for me, it doesn't matter the payment structure. For as long as they can give us 60 million quid, I think it is best for even Rashford himself. And it's good that in the one game we saw him play at the start of the season, the few games in preseason, he showed moments of sharpness. Forget about the Man City game where he looked lazy again. I think those few moments of sharpness are what we can ride on to believe that he can actually proceed, go to Barcelona, and become an important player again. But most importantly, get us money that we need, but also we are removing a player who is certainly going to be frustrated most of the time, or who could still force Eric Ten Hag into starting him ahead of a better player in Alejandro Garnacho or Amad Diallo. Because honestly, With Marcus Rashford still at Man United, Eric Ten Hag is never going to go 3, 4 games without playing him, even if he's not so good. And you don't expect to see him, Ahmad, and Garnacho all on the pitch. So the most likely it's together with Joshua Zirkzee now. The most likely culprit, the player who will suffer, is most likely going to be Ahmad. But we both know that if Ahmad is not on the pitch and Garnacho and Rashford are on the pitch, then it means Garnacho is going to go on the right, which is not his best position because Rashford will only fit in a Man United squad playing off the left. Now already that's disorganizing the squad. That's disorganizing the setup because one of our best players or one of our better players in Alejandro Garnacho won't be playing in his natural position because he has got to make room for Rashford to be accommodated. So the presence of Rashford, him being a big time player also, his status, he's a star player at United, he's a top earner, he is always going to get the coaches into being a sort of, for lack of a better word, uh, pressured into starting him in games where he shouldn't be stepping foot on the pitch. So for me, the best solution would be if a serious club like Barcelona are interested in him, it's a good business. It's good business for Man United, but most importantly, even for himself, because trust you me, Rashford can easily, with his pace, with a better coach, with a better team, he can easily go to Barcelona and just take the La Liga for himself. But also, Rashford would make the El Clasico make better sense for Barcelona because if Barcelona have Kylian Mbappe, or rather, if Barcelona have Rashford and Real Madrid have Kylian Mbappe, imagine El Clasico where Rashford is on one end, Mbappe is on another end, Olmo, Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal rather, and Jude Bellingham, the other side, the El Clasico will look more exciting. There will be more pace in the El Clasico because then Rashford will try to match the pace of Kylian Mbappe. But also, even for Rashford, he will be more directly motivated to step up his game because people will be comparing him with Kylian Mbappe. So, either way you look at it, now, whereas this is a rumor, and it's not the first time we are hearing this, we had this before. I do recall in December, there were people were even saying that he had agreed personal terms with Barcelona to join them. Thing is, for me, this is an okay deal if it were to happen. I hope by some magic it can happen. Rashford is priced out of his misery. Let him go and restart life elsewhere. And Barcelona is respectable enough a club, and let him not just pretend how he loves Man United so much, how he cries when we win or lose. I think we are done falling for that. Yes, we know he should love Man United. I mean, who wouldn't love a club that will gift you a long contract that runs out in 2028 just after one season of average football, but you being the best player at the club, they give you a crazy contract where you're earning nearly £400,000 per week. I would fall in love with such a club. Remember, you are even an academy kid because you do know that usually in organizations, people who are nurtured by the organization always do not earn top dollar. They are never top earners. It's always the new guys who come and are given big juicy contracts. But for Rashford, he defied the odds, and he comes out of the Man United academy, and somehow he's luckily able to command that high salary, the high wage he's earning. I feel for me, he's a special kid to Man United. He'll go down in history at Man United, but the reality is his time at United can never get better when he stays. I think it will only get better for him as a footballer away from Man United, but at a big club. So if this interest is serious, if this interest is actualized, I think Eric Ten Hag, Dan Ashworth, and the entire team should really just cash in and get the 60 million quid for Rashford because indeed the value has dropped. And I don't expect Rashford to refuse really. Whereas, yes, players make it difficult. I would think he's mad if Rashford turned down the opportunity to join Barcelona because it's the best thing for his career. And Barcelona, Hansi Flick, and Barcelona, the kind of football they play, the state they are in, they are also rebuilding a team. I think it's a big time opportunity for him to go there. Thing is, can they afford him? If they could afford to sign Nico Williams, probably they can try to afford him. If not, they can figure out solutions and find a way of dealing with the financial fair play and get him because they indeed need someone of a similar profile to to Nico Williams. They need that person, and there are not so many, honestly. Closest to that should be Marcus Rashford. So that's my honest thinking. So this is a story that has come through. Of course, like I said, the source might not be your most exciting one, but with Man United, guys, some of the stories that have broken, the big stories that we've eventually seen, have come from the most unlikely of sources. So you don't just underestimate the power of a rumor around Man United. It can come to reality. You don't just overlook it. And for this Rashford rumor, honestly, look at the squad, because even Joshua Zirkzee, because Rashford's competition on the left, for the left position, for the left wing, is not even just Garnacho lately. It is even Zirkzee, because there is a high possibility that Man United can even play with the front two, and if they do so, again, chances of him playing are becoming slimmer. Uh, but even if they don't, it is possible that Zirkzee is now also competing with Garnacho for that starting place on the left, because Zirkzee is not just the number 9. So there is a lot of competition for Rashford that he doesn't need really to endure. I don't think he needs to endure. I think he just needs to restart elsewhere, fight for his career, and become a world beater at a big club elsewhere. But also, I mean, at times, for you to prove how good you are, you need to step out of home. You're never a hero at home, they say, are you? You're never a hero at home. Let him go elsewhere and let him be a hero there. And of course, everyone, let's regret and say, oh, we sold Rashford. I would love the day to come when he leaves, goes to Barcelona, he shines, and we come here. You see, the mistake we made, we shouldn't have sold him. I mean, for me, honestly, if we could lose Mason Greenwood at this point, the only player we can't lose is Kobe Mainu, honestly. But if we could lose Mason Greenwood in the silly way we did, I think we can really lose anyone and I would be okay. And least of all is Rashford, really. I would be okay if he left. Now, by the way, today it came out that Anthony Dos Santos is a free man, just like like Mason Greenwood is and or was. I wonder whether they will still force him out despite being free, because all the charges against him in Brazil were dropped. The rape charges against him were all dropped. But yeah, guys, pardon me. I have a sort of a cold. I hope my voice doesn't sound different. I might sound like I'm on auto tune, but pardon me. But auto tune sounds good anyway. So I mean, some of the best hits, the best songs we listened to back in the time when music was it was still music, R&B was still R&B, were auto tune songs. I'm told. So I mean, deal with it anyhow. So yeah, Anthony is a free man. That's why probably he was feeling charged. He knew the sentencing would come and maybe favor him, or he knew about it before we did. So he was saying this season is going to be the season. I hope he will do whatever he promised to do. That is, his name is going to be associated with goals and assists. I do hope he gets playing time. Of course, Eric Ten Hag now has reason to force him on us because Ahmad did not have the best of games. I hope Eric Ten Hag doesn't make the mistake because Ten Hag gave Anthony so many opportunities. I hope he does give the same opportunities to Amad Diallo. If he doesn't, then the bias will be glaring. That said, we wish the best for Anthony. Let's hope it all goes well. So that's pretty much what's going on with Man United. I just want to give you that quick update on the status of Marcus Rashford and the talks that are coming. Drop down a comment and let me know whether you think Marcus Rashford is a player we can afford to sell now. Do you think we can do without him? Honestly, what is an overhauling of Man United with Rashford staying within you? I mean, Rashford has been. Um, it's no hate. It's no hate. We love Rashford. He was our best player a few seasons ago, but for himself, he has got to move on for himself, because any little mistake he will do, we'll go back and attack him. Honestly, it's going to be difficult for him. But also, I hate it when players, you know, block opportunities for other emerging stars sometimes. And if they can move on and get other opportunities elsewhere and give space for emerging stars, for that, honestly, I always believe in giving platforms to the young, because the young are always hungry and more, have more desire, and always want to fight. So I don't think Rashford still has the hunger, and at this point the least we need is a player who is not hungry at Man United. So Hansi Flick, Barcelona, come, bring your cash, take your man. Anything 60 and above, he goes.